Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. David O'Brien is a business doctor based in Lincolnshire who also runs his own networking group. I asked him his thoughts about the future of networking post-COVID. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast, David.
It's a pleasure, Liz.
So, David, you are a business doctor. So can you tell me, first of all, what it is a business doctor does?
So we work with business owners just to help them have a clearer picture of what they want to achieve with their business and how they're going to get there. I think a lot of people start businesses because they're either technically very good at doing something or they're passionate about doing something. And because they're passionate, because they're technically good, they can be successful. But often we find that after a year or two or 5 or 10, they feel like they're not in control, that the business is running them, that they sometimes feel like a busy fool. So we just help them to really refocus on what their priorities are, what they want to achieve in their business, and how they can go about that and have a clear plan for doing the important things on a day-to-day basis.
Mm. Now, you and I met at a full networking meeting several years ago now. Is networking something that you've always done for your business from the start?
Yeah, I think from becoming a business doctor previously, I worked for a relatively large organisation, and we just had internal contacts. We didn't do any external networking at all, apart from the occasional conference. But when I became a business doctor, I realised that I needed to create a network to meet people, to meet potential clients and people that I could collaborate with. So yeah, I was straight into networking, and 4N I think was the first one that I went to. I was progressed to be a group leader at 4N and do lots of foresighting and things. So yeah, I've done a lot of 4N.
And is networking something that you recommend to your clients as a business doctor?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think a lot of business owners don't. They either don't know about networking, or they don't have the confidence to go networking, or they feel they don't have the time because they don't see the benefit. I think a lot of people see that it's just somewhere to go along and try a pitch. They maybe tried it a couple of times, felt uncomfortable, and it didn't work. But the importance of building a network, not just of potential clients or customers, but of people who can support you, who can give you information, who can advise you, is vital, I think, to any kind of business, really. And that includes the bigger kind of business that I used to work with, that really would have benefited from just networking with other people and getting that cross collaboration of ideas and ways of working.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm a sole trader and I spend days, on my own. So for me, networking's great just to get out and meet other people.
I think there are so many benefits of networking. It's you learn a lot about yourself, you learn about your business, you learn about how to talk about your business, because if you're explaining to somebody what you do and their eyes glaze over, you've not got the words right, You're not hitting the spot, you're not making any sense to them. And sometimes you hit on a key phrase and they go, oh yeah, that's me. And you realise that, yeah, I've got to use that one on a more regular basis. So phrases like running a business is a lonely place. That seems to resonate with a lot of people. Can't see the wood for the trees. Those sorts of phrases that sometimes when you use them, people go, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Then you've got the right messaging for your audience.
Yeah. So tell me what your experience of networking during the lockdown has been.
So I've really enjoyed networking during the lockdown.
I have.
I think it's been an eye-opener, because it's not obvious that networking would work all that well via Zoom or any other kind of online platform. But I think not, especially in somewhere like Lincolnshire, not having to drive 45 minutes somewhere to meet a group of people, where you can just log on 2 minutes before it starts and talk to them, and then be ready to do something else straight afterwards. There's an efficiency, and and it reduces your costs of petrol if you're not driving around Lincolnshire all the time. So I've loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're both in Greater Lincolnshire, and we must be at least an hour apart. And you and I were the kind of people who were prepared to drive for a fair distance to a networking meeting, but not everybody does that. And I guess now that things are online, it's kind of open networking up to more people, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing. So we would have met at various 4N groups, but I was group leader at Four Ends Sleaford, which was a great meeting at an Indian restaurant, which was a 5-minute drive away for me. Fantastic. But you've been there a few times. It would have been an hour, as you say, for you to come down. And that's when it's a 2-hour meeting and an hour's drive each way, and you've got to be there a bit before and a bit after. That's more than half a day, really, to go to one meeting. It's a big commitment.
Yeah, definitely. So you're now running an online networking group. What was it that made you decide to start a group?
So it had its seeds in a physical group that we were doing. So we were meeting every 2 weeks in Spalding, and I was running those meetings. There was a group of about 5 of us who were trying to build the group up, although it was difficult to build the group up in Spalding and get people to come. When lockdown started, I said, well, should we just have a Zoom call just to keep in touch? And the first meeting went well, so I said, well, do it again next week. And then it became a weekly thing, and I think we're on meeting 56 now in a row. And it's just grown, and it has the ability to widen out the network. When we wanted people to drive to Spalding, find somewhere to park, walk to the place that we had the meeting, pay £6 for a bacon roll in the morning, and use half a day to do that, it was quite difficult to get people to commit to that. To actually get people to log on at 8:30 on a Tuesday morning to a Zoom call is fairly straightforward, and I think people have really enjoyed the regularity of it and the support that they've had during the lockdown as well from the other businesses. So it's a really friendly and supportive group. That's what we've tried to create.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I joined, I think, towards the back end of last year, or autumn of last year, and I haven't missed many meetings because it's really good. Do you just want to explain the format of your meeting for the listeners?
Yeah, so we've kept it to an hour because I think that's a good window for people to not get too bored. We allow people to do a 60 seconds. We're not really strict. We don't bang a gong if they go over or anything like that. So just to introduce their business or to talk about any events that they've got coming up or the kind of referrals they're looking for. It's fairly free what people want to say. Then we tend to have 1 or 2 what we call 5-minute slots where somebody just shares either something about themselves, their business, or an area of expertise that they have, or an idea that they've had. And then we go into breakout rooms usually at the end. But the thing is, we can change the format. I can change it to whatever we want to suit the meeting. So I think this week we had and thanks to you, Liz, we had the and also round where we just got people to say something they did that wasn't to do with their business, and it just helps you to understand a bit more about the person and maybe find a different connection or find something that's really interesting. So,
yeah, I thought that was fascinating. I learned so much about people on Tuesday this week, and we have had people that do all sorts of things.
It's amazing, isn't it? The range of people that you have and the range of interests.
Yeah. Now, your meeting is free to attend. Why do you decide to make it free? I guess you could have charged for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was working out that if I had charged for it for the first year, I'd have made about £4,000. But to me, what I want to be able to do is to connect with people on a regular basis. And I think for people that want to create a community that is engaged with them, whether that's a business coach or a marketer or some other kind of service organisation or business, then I think this is a really good opportunity to do it. Previously, with face-to-face, there's a barrier to entry effectively because you've got to find a room. You either have to pay for the room or you have to pay for refreshments. And it's quite difficult to get people there. It's actually, once you've got a Zoom account, it's effectively free. It's just your time, and it doesn't take a great deal of time. So it's an opportunity to send a couple of emails a week, one inviting people to the meeting and one just summarising what's happened and giving everybody's contact details, and then to have regular contact with people. So it's just, for me, it's a part of, in a way, it's a part of my sales funnel, but it's getting people to engage with me, and I really enjoy it. So I think, I think that there's a future for free groups online. Yeah.
So are you planning to continue with it even when we can go back to meeting face to face?
Absolutely. I'm not desperate to get back face to face with people. I'm sure I'll do some of it, but I'll be much more selective than I would have previously. Been probably 3 years chasing around Lincolnshire to various different meetings, and I'll certainly be reluctant to do that.
Yeah.
But the meeting works really well. It's really supportive. We can see people doing business with each other, referring people to each other, collaborating in partnership on projects. So I know it brings a lot of value to the people that come to it. I know they enjoy it, and I love running the meetings. So yeah, absolutely, it's a fixture for me.
Yeah. So what do you think that the future of networking looks like in general, beyond your own group?
I think it's interesting. I think we hear a lot of people saying, "I can't wait to get back face to face," and I think that there is sort of almost a cork coming out of the champagne bottle where people want to get back. But the reality of it is, if you're driving, especially in a rural area, 30, 45, 60 minutes to a meeting, you're having to pay for petrol, you're having to pay to park, it's taking half a day. That I think that novelty may wear off fairly quickly, and it might even become a seasonal thing where, in the summer it's fine if you go out at 7 o'clock in the morning, the sun's shining, you get in your car, you have a drive through fields, it's lovely. In the winter, you go out at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's freezing cold, you've got to scrape the ice off your car, it's dark, then it's not quite so attractive to be going off to another part of Lincolnshire.
I definitely haven't missed that part.
So I think once the novelty of getting back face to face wears off, we will have online meetings. I think we'll have hybrid meetings, and what I mean by that is there will be spaces who allow some physical networking, but also have a big screen for people to come in on Zoom. So actually, you can have the best of both worlds. So some people can meet face to face, or you can go to the meeting one in every 2 or 3. But the other times you can still be part of that group by just sitting at home and being on your Zoom as you have been for the last year. So I think there's a potential for those hybrid meetings. And as I say, it may become a seasonal activity, a bit like cricket, where we do it when the weather's nice, but when it's raining, we stay at home.
Yeah. Do you think that some of the online networks that have sprung up will survive once we go back to face? Do you think there'll be a bit less of the online?
I think people will be selective about whatever kind of networking they do, whether it's face to face, whether it's online, and it'll be about the value that they see from it. It'll be about the value that they get from the meeting. And I think to give people value, there's got to be content, not just everybody introducing themselves. I won't say which one, but I went to a meeting recently that was an hour, and we were at 46 minutes into it, and we were still on the 1 minute round where people were introducing themselves. And I thought, and I'm not going to pay however much it is to go and just listen to that. There's got to be some more value. There's got to be some more interaction, or something that you're learning, something you're getting from it. So it'll be value based, not necessarily cost based, but value based, I think.
So what do you think that the networking community has learned from the lockdown and having to, being forced to do things in a new way?
I think we've learned that you can collaborate quite well over the internet, using Zoom, using other platforms, that it widens your opportunities, it doesn't narrow them, because in the Net for Biz meeting, we've got yourself, you're in the north of Lincolnshire, and then we've got Katie, who's down in London. Would never get you in the same room if it was a physical meeting. So I think that geographical boundaries have expanded. So I think we've learned that it's easy to do. It's probably less scary for most people than walking into a room with people that you don't know and having to stand up and talk about yourself for 60 seconds. And it gives other options.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really opened opportunities up. Like you say, I would never have met somebody who's based down in London. I was only going to meet people within a certain radius. And yet the business that I have can work globally. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to be able to do things remotely like this.
Yeah, and I think that the kind of business you are, or a social media expert, I think in the long term, running your own networking meeting is a perfectly logical thing to do if you want to create a tribe around you, whether it's other people who are voiceover artists or whether it's the kind of people who use voiceover artists. It's just an opportunity, because it's such a low barrier to entry for anybody to run a meeting, whether it's, ours is once a week, but I think, once every 2 weeks, once every 4 weeks, once a quarter, just to get people together. We've seen how easy it is to do. And if you just put a bit of thought into it and give people a reason to come and give people some value from it, then you're collecting people around you, and it's much easier online.
Yeah. I mean, before the lockdown, I was running a meetup group for voiceover artists and other people in the audio industry in Hull every other month. And we never got more than, a dozen people in the room. But now that those meetings have moved online, people from all over the country are coming. So although I'm looking forward to being able to go back to the pub again, it's a shame that all those people that have started coming to my group won't be able to attend that physically.
And it's hard work. It's hard work running a physical meeting. I was a 4N group leader and we ran this group in Spalding, and there's a lot of work in trying to get people to come to a physical meeting. You're constantly inviting people and checking in with them and seeing how many people you've got booked on and that kind of thing. Whereas online, it's really very easy. I've got about 33 people that come to Net for Biz. We usually get between sort of 18 and 20, 22, 23 of them turn up for one meeting, and I just send them an invite out and they come along. It's really easy compared to trying to get people to a physical space.
Yeah, definitely. So have you got any top tips for successful networking, whether that's in person or online?
I think I think first of all you've got to think about what you want to say and what you want to achieve from it. So you've got to have some clear goals and outcomes, and that doesn't mean how much you're going to sell. It means what you're trying to achieve by networking, and be clear on that. I think Liz, you and I are both have acting as a hobby. And I know how useful rehearsing something is, so that you can say what you want to say in the way that you want to say it and always deliver a performance. So I think prepare what you're going to say and think about what you want to get across, and really be clear on what you want to say to people. And then the real magic, which is what I say in Net for Biz, is the real magic happens outside of a networking meeting. It's about having one-to-ones with people, which again is much easier over Zoom. It's about following up with people. It's about keeping in touch. It's about nurturing that relationship and seeing where it can go. I think if you just go to a meeting and expect it to work, then you've got a hard job in front of you. Yeah,
I think you're missing out hugely if you just attend the meetings and don't take things any further than that.
Yeah, and we used to connect on social media and then try and meet somebody for a coffee. It's now so easy to meet somebody over Zoom for a coffee and have 20, 30 minutes with them and just have a chat, just find out a bit more, just deepen that relationship, and do it again 2 months later and 2 months later, and build those relationships.
And not pay Starbucks prices too.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So if people want to get in touch with you, David, how can they do that?
So you can find me on the Business Doctors website. I'm on LinkedIn. My email address is david.obrien@businessdoctors.co.uk. Or my phone number 07595 450 361. All sorts of ways of getting in touch with me. I think if you just Google me, you'll find me somewhere. Yeah, you're quite easy to find, I think. Lovely. Yeah, and we run lots of it. We run lots of free sessions as well. I think you've come to one recently that we ran. Yes. So, yes, I can recommend David's free sessions. Lots of good value given away in those. So thank you very much for joining me, David, and I'll see you online soon. Yep, see you online. Thanks a lot, Liz. Take care. Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.